Offset. Sucker barely fits in the garage here. Get it in. I got to let the back end down to get it in here. So hopefully this is the last time it comes in here. Just doing some prep work here before we get this thing covered in paint and left outside for the rest of its life. So quick rundown here. We've been building on this probably over a year now. Don't mind the messiness of the garage. This place is packed with stuff. I got projects half started and boxes, and not worried about that today. We're worried about this. So, old trailer, give a quick rundown, origin of everything here. The old trailer drug out of the father-in-law's weeds behind the house. He acquired it several years back, and I snagged on it. Because, well, this thing's big, and I didn't really want to put it on legs with maybe some casters on the bottom, because if you can't tell, that's gravel out there. And most casters don't roll too well across gravel unless you spend the extra money and get some pneumatics. But this is what we ended up here. I actually had some wheels and tires left in the out back here that actually fit on this. And you get new lug nuts for it because those aren't the right ones, but just for the time being it'll hold it. These tires are a little bit better shape. They're still almost 20 years old, so eventually may get replaced, but it's just a little smoker trailer, no big deal. So that's where the trailer itself came from. Still working on getting it dialed in. I just got the fenders welded up on here. The lights, I'm unsure if they even work at all. There are wires back here, so I may mess around with trying to wire in a 4-way on it, or I may just go buy a kit and replace it all together. We'll see when we get there. The 55-gallon drum you see here, this is an old ATF drum here. See, I just got some pavers in there. I'm going to get fire brick in there to hold the heat a little bit better because this is so thin. I do lose a lot of heat. Yeah, if I had to make any recommendations, I would say look for a better quality drum, or, you know, what everybody else does is buy plate steel and build a big box on it. But this project was just as cheap as possible. Is what the goal was here. So really this entire build has been next to nothing. It's just what I've had laying around over the years, collected. Like this, I have no idea where this even came from. We just welded it on there one day as a handle. The plate steel came from a friend of mine. His, I don't know, maybe ex-girlfriend's dad or something, I think, supplied that. But the drum, it came from a friend of ours. Yeah, it's been a project between me and a couple other friends this whole time. So we just find what we got laying around. And speaking of laying around, the handle on this 55-gallon drum is an old C-clamp. You can see there, standard clamp number 540. You know this? I might have some purists around here. It's an 8-inch, old 8-inch, that are gonna hate me for using some of these pieces parts, but you know what, when it's junk, and I have no use for it. Well, here's the use. It does get recycled. It does stay in use. It's still useful, maybe not as its intended purpose originally, but for what I could use it for. It's like a Cincinnati, it's on here, Cincinnati Tool Co. It was twisted. If you can see the twist in that. I don't need it. It was junk. These pieces, I think they came from, think about it, legs. These were the legs off of a tanning bed from one of the friends that have been working on this with me. Legs from a tanning bed, and they're just perfect. You know, we lopped them off of that tanning bed, brought them over, and just put them on here because we didn't have to fabricate anything, didn't bend anything. We just set them on there, welded them up, and they're perfect for exactly what we need them to do. They just hold that, while we work in here or open the lid here. So those were just scrap that we had laying around. The hinges, I think the hinges got paid for. Maybe $5 at the hardware store. I don't know. Gauges, I bought those off of Amazon. They seem to be okay, but I did do some overhead welding on this when I bent and welded this handle up. So I think I got some splatter there on the glass, but it should still work as intended. The fuel oil drum, we'll get into that there. The fuel oil drum itself. Came from an old family friend. And my neighbors growing up, their dad and their family friend bought this or drug it out of someone's house as a favor to them. They kept it because they anticipated making it into a smoker or a grill of some sort. They got this expanded metal, some good heavy gauge expanded metal. Had that laying out next to the shop with the drum. Also had, I don't even know where these came from, but they were with it. The posts here, they were probably 5 foot long. Some of them had 2 ends that had the plates on them. One just one end with the plate on it. But they worked perfect for feet, which was what their intended purpose was. They were going to put it up on those, but they were going to have it raised, not on a trailer. But we drug these out of the weeds. Had to kill a lot of poison ivy to get to these things. Oh, put that down here. I'll move around this side here. The stack on this thing. I work maintenance for a place, and we were doing some remodel, reconstruction. There was a building that got torn down, and there was a steam supply. This is a 6-inch steel. It was a steam pipe. You see that drain valve on there. Big old relief valve on here. I left this because I think it's pretty cool because it goes with the rest of it. You know, it's just not that pretty. That's why I like the rest on it. You know, she's got stories. And she's going to have many more. And once we hook this up to the back of a truck and inevitably get a flat tire on our way somewhere, or the lid flaps open and bends all the hinges, I don't know. There's going to have to be something. I'm sure there always is. So, you see the stack. She's pretty tall. Can't get in my garage without like bending it over. So, I'm going to square off the top of this, get a damper put on there because the last cook or the first cook with that stack on there, that sucker can pull some heat through. So I've got about a 75-degree swing across this thing. And where you think it would be the hottest right up against the firebox, it's not because I have a baffle that spits out the heat right about center on this thing. Open it up, show. So you can see the end of that baffle. It's right there. It's just that diamond plate. I welded up a little box in there and snugged it right close to the opening for the firebox. It's not tight up against it, so it can still leach out there. But because that stack's pulling so hard across here, it's just pretty much pulling all that heat directly up and out. So you get a baffle, slow it down. I was also in the open with this, which is not ideal because you're going to have a lot more wind going across the top and scavenging all that heat out of there. And this is a thinner gauge, so going to lose more that way anyway. But it did really well. I do need to get a baffle on there. Maybe use less wood at that point too, because it's not going to be stoking that or dragging that fire as much. Yeah, other than that, I get that damper put on here. Get this steel plate welded up across the front. I want to get that welded up. I got some marks on here where I want it to start. I'll have to get something to get out from like the framework to the corners of these just to support it a little bit, because this is a really thick, heavy piece of metal. So I don't want it just hanging out here, bouncing down the road, especially because these fenders, they're really not the sturdiest. I only welded them in like that piece to this rust and that piece to this rust. So the rust eventually will give up and break off anyway. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this prepped up, get this marked up where I want it. Hopefully get it completely welded up, and then maybe come back and build some stanchions for it to hold the weight. But I'm just going to put you over here on the tripod and speed on through there. I'm going to jump around a little bit, so just hang on for the ride. Haven't had a full-length video on this thing in quite some time. I don't even know if there is a full-length video on it, to be honest with you. I've always just done a lot of shorts mid-working on this, or smoking with it. The last one there you can see on the channel did really well, so hope to keep that going. Keep the likes and subscriptions, and get some comments on the videos. Is what people want to see smoked on this thing, because you can fit a whole hog on there easy, no problem. You probably put two of them in there spooning together. I don't know, but I'm gonna throw you over here on the tripod. You can watch this stuff go down. Jesus. Uh-oh. Dang it. Well, I think that might have been this POS's last project. She got some weird grinding going on. Oh no, I don't make things like I used to. I got a solution to this problem though. Killed out the battery, probably just because it had excess drag. I feel like in no time at all, So I think I've got the solution over here. I think it's this box. I don't know. Old Hitachi, whatever. Had that thing for a long time. That thing's went for a couple swims and worked outside in the rain a few handful of times. And you know what? I bet this sucker still works. I haven't had this fired up in so long. That cord's probably permanently like twisted like that. You can see it's just okay. I probably had that thing probably 12 years or so. Oh, dang it. Let's see. Extension cord. Might have to go for a run here real quick. Get me an extension cord. The only place in town that sells Milwaukee is actually all the way across town. And I don't know how old this thing is, whether or not it's under warranty or not, but I'm going to go ahead and say probably not. Just, I don't know. I don't know. So if anybody knows how to tell how old these things are based on serial numbers, maybe 18th week of the 21st year, maybe, if that's how they lay out their serial numbers right there. 1821. I don't know. I don't care. Yeah, I've got its use, I guess. I mean, I haven't had this near as long as I've had that thing. And I bet if I plug it in right now, she'll rip. This thing, she's busted. Busted. I'll get back to it. Plugged old Hitachi in. She rips. We'll get back onto it. I'm gonna throw you back up on the tripod. Watch me work. I guess. How'd that? Can you see nothing? Perfect. Perfect. We get some beer pro. All right. I got the fitment pretty good. Felt like I was taking a little bit too much off with the grinder in the middle. Started looking at the drum itself. It actually had a bow towards the middle. Where you saw me beating it with a hammer and block of wood. So smooth that out. It fits up pretty good. I'll still have to fill a little bit of a gap over here, but not terrible. And same thing on this side. Just a very little gap there too, but no big deal there. All I'm gonna do is stitch it every so often, and just got to get the grinder on it, prep the drum surface so it sticks, so it doesn't have to blow through that rust, and we should be welding.
fine to me. Stick on it in a few places down that. I mean, I don't think I'm going back through, but any legs on this sucker. This is just all I can sit on this. It's not deflecting much at all. So I think I'm okay with that. So of course I run this into the side of something and rip the side of the smoker off, but whatever. I'm gonna radius these corners, clean up all the edges real good with first grinder and just go back over with a file. Smooth them up. That way there are no burrs, no sharp edges, just smooth. So we're gonna go ahead and go through that, do that real quick, get the torch fired up, burn them off real quick, do a little bit more grinding.
Whoa! Got these radiused, smooth out the edges so we're not running into them, catching shrapnel in the thighs and stuff. Just looking at how far of a reach this is, it kind of sucks. I'm not going to be able to get all the way in the back there. Afterthoughts. I could rip a little bit of that off of there, but only when it gets inconvenient for me. I'll do that. Yeah, I might even bring a step stool or 5-gallon bucket to stand on just to get up in there. Or really, I could get up on this thing, get all the way in there, put myself in here if I need to. But oh man, you know, it's gonna keep getting better. The more we look at it, the more we think of things. So get another set of eyes on this thing. If you see something that stands out to you that's not absurd, like, why didn't you make it out of stainless or double wall? Well, I already went over that at the beginning of this. It's cost me nothing, or really, really close to nothing, to build this out. Just showing, if you got a welder, I went and bought this one before this project, and or actually I bought it during this project. I was actually gonna anticipated using it, making motor mounts and some other things, but that project got torched, so turned it on this thing. So it's not too bad. Well, it could be an issue. My handle's touching now. Didn't think it was touching, but well, it's holding us open. 1/8 inch let me figure something out with this here real quick, and we'll go ahead and get this thing out in the daylight. What I want to do is I want to pressure wash everything on it. I've actually got a little bit more welding to do up on the front feet, but we're not going to bore you with that. This is already getting longer than I anticipated, so I'm going to go ahead and get that handle straightened out, or bent, I guess. Get it where I want it. The feet welded up front, and get this pulled outside. Next time you'll see it, it'll be sitting outside in the front yard, probably. Getting ready to power wash it. Finished product a couple days later. Actually let her dry up quite a bit. A couple days meaning a week. This is the following, actually it's Monday now, took today off here. Paint's holding up pretty good aside from the firebox. We got surface rust on it shortly after painting it, so I'm sure another coat of high temp on this blacken that up just great. The rest of this came out fairly good for a rusty old trailer. Cooked pretty nice. I cooked a brisket and 2 chickens on here. I've got to get in here with the wire brush and scrape off the residue there, but for the most part she seals up good enough to keep most moisture out. The pan I had for my beef tallow actually had a hole in it, so the whole time it was just landing on my baffle. I looked down in there and there's just a layer of fat. Didn't realize it until I went to wrap my beef and had no tallow in that pan for some reason. Little cardboard cutout I made to make a baffle, or a flue. Had a little bit of rain, seems to stay pretty dry in here. Not too worried about that. But other than that, she cooks pretty good. Through a simple little paper towel roll holder from Harbor Freight on here. They're just magnetic, so I just slapped that to the bottom of this. It's been raining the last 2 days. We've had rain, 3 days maybe, and it's dry, so honestly didn't take that run down the highway with it. I don't care, probably wouldn't unroll, but other than that, she turned out real good. I gotta get this cleaned out yet. Gotta get that cleaned out, get the ashes from that last cook out of here. But more to come on this. Besides building it, we're gonna start cooking on this sucker, post some more videos on it, not cooking with it. Food that has come off of it the last couple of times has been really good, so looking forward to really filling this thing up. I threw that brisket on there, like I said, and then 2 chickens, spatchcock 2 chickens, threw them on there. Didn't do a video, just a short throwing them on there. It came out really, really good. And there's that all painted up and pretty. We can take her to the fair now.